On the next all-new episode of Mashle, Magic and Muscles.
You better give your all in this fight, Graviole. Oh, right. Gravity magic. I should have known. I have a feeling this could turn out to be fun after all.
Mashle, Magic and Muscles. Next Saturday at midnight. Only Toonami on Adult Swim.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Toonami Therapy. We're recording January 15th of 2025. I'm Michael.
Yeah, hello, I'm Tommy.
And this is our podcast where we talk about anime, Toonami, and other things. So, I guess we have some news. It's a good thing I thought to check on this just before we started recording, but they did announce that, all right, well, were you missing Sailor Moon? Well, the good news for you, it is back. The bad, yes, it is airing on the regular Toonami lineup. The bad news is that it's going to be at 3 a.m. in the morning Eastern Time. And the worst news, if you watch it on Toonami Rewind, is that you're restarting from episode 1.
Yeah. So, I forget how many episodes that is, but it'll probably be about a year until they have to make a decision on whether they want to show the second season or not.
Yeah, let me actually check that out. Let's see. I think there were 40 episodes in its first season. Oh, I undercounted. It was 46. So, actually, when we consider like them doing reruns, the fact, some weeks they they ditch the normal one schedule to have some reruns. Yeah, that with 46 episodes, yeah, it probably will be 1 year from now where we get to season 2.
If they do it.
Yeah.
If they even want to do that.
It'll be it'll actually, hang on, I need to double check something here. We will reach season 2 of Sailor Moon faster than we will reach the next season of the next arc of One Piece. No, wait, I'm sorry. I'm forgetting that that the Sailor Moon is coming in a few weeks, whereas One Piece is working here. But it won't be quite like that, but we'll be reaching the next season 2 of Sailor Moon about when we reach the next arc of One Piece is basically our current situation. Because we finished One Piece episode 699, and at least according to the way Wikipedia divides them, there's this arc ends on episode 746. So, yeah. All right. So, I don't think there's anything else to say in regards to Toonami or any news. So, shall we just move into it?
Yeah, let's go.
Okay, so we are, in fact, yeah, we're finally back. We're back to actually talking about Toonami after, some hiatuses for about a month. Okay. Anyway, so we come back to Mashle, episode 7. Okay. So basically, Mash confronts that guy who, was turning the people into the dolls, who, just kind of gives a speech like, blah, blah, survival of the fittest. So Mash just, so basically, Mash manages to turn the guy who got turned into a doll back to normal, and also keeps his coin, which the other guy stole, but Mash got it back. And, yeah, so we get all of that. They also then get attacked by more guys. Um, and and yeah, then they manage to beat them, if I remember correctly. For some reason, I'm drawing a little bit of a blank on the end of this episode, but I think they finished the fight this one in this episode.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. And
Yeah. Some pretty good humor in this one, especially from Mash himself. Um, and then we had that Siscon guy show up again. Uh, uh, and he was talking about protecting his little sister. So we get that in there. Um, so I don't think it was a great episode. Probably not even a good episode, but it was at least average to above average.
Okay. Yeah, yeah, there are some funny bits. I do just always just the constant like things where Mash, is just like whatever about everything. I like the part where the two villains are talking to each other later, and one like I can't remember exactly what he says, but the other one says, "Don't stop saying obvious things and acting like they're profound."
Uh-huh.
So yeah, there's some funny bits in this episode still, but yeah, it wasn't as good as some of the other ones. All right. After that, we got Blue Exorcist episode 8. Now, were you doing Blue Exorcist? I can't remember. Were you?
I don't think I was doing anything except for Star Trek.
Okay.
So
Okay. Do you want to do it or should I just do it anyway? You just seem to remember everything about the show better than me.
yeah, that's the problem. I don't remember it.
Oh.
So
Okay.
yeah.
I mean, you remember characters I didn't. You're like saying, "Hey, we're going to meet my favorite character." I'm thinking, I can't remember who that was. It's so weird to me that you remember this series better than I do.
Yeah, I mean,
But
I'm trying to. Oh, this is the one where they get locked into the school, and then of course, since they get locked in by, Rin's brother, then of course that automatically means that there's going to be scary stuff that happens once they're locked in there. So then they have to work together to solve it, and Rin takes off because he doesn't want anyone to know about his powers. He goes and takes care of one of them, and then the rest of them kind of work together. And the only way to stop the guy is by reciting the Bible verse that like binds him. Well, this is so funny. It's the verse that works just so happens to be the very last verse of the book of John. So after going through books 1 through 21, finally they get to the final verse of 21, and that final verse is able to work and destroy the bad guy, and that way they are able to escape. And then Ring comes back, it's like, hey guys, everything's cool. And that's pretty much what happens. And I do think that was pretty funny, the Book of John thing, especially that it's the last verse of the you couldn't make that up. That was priceless. So yeah, I thought it was actually a pretty good episode. I'm not making it eligible for my best of Toonami thing, but I do think it was a pretty entertaining episode.
yeah, honestly, for things like this, if you because yeah, it's weird. Okay, to beat the bad guy, you just need to. They all have like a Bible verse weakness, so you just need to say the right one. And they figured out it was from John. I can't remember how they figured that out, but I am just thinking it seems like for something like this, it's either going to be like the beginning or the ending stuff that's the most that's the most likely. I mean, you should probably throw out John 3:16 out there also, because that's the one everyone knows because of that guy who always held up the signs at the football games. But I was just thinking, yeah, maybe like statistically you should say some of the beginning stuff, then the ending stuff, and then go through the middle. And yeah. So yeah, that was yeah. One thing I definitely remember that was in the opening was when we're just seeing stuff from the previous episode. I'm like, oh, is this like the thing where they do, especially in like One Piece or some other series, where like, okay, let's show some stuff from the previous episode to work sort of as a recap, but really to fill up time. But then it goes totally different. I'm thinking, wait, am I misremembering it? And then it turns out it was all a dream. So, well, I guess that was a way to fill up time anyway.
Yeah. So I said that I wouldn't be doing the recap, and I said I couldn't remember it. And, well, I did the recap. So yeah, not a bad episode. Probably the best of Toonami, but again, I have my rule of not including things that I've seen before. So,
okay.
I'll say that.
All right. So, well, I don't think I have anything else to say about it. So we'll move on to One Piece episode 699. I expect they'll probably do absolutely nothing special for 700. I mean,
700 Club. Who's in the 700 Club anyway? Like, how many anime would reach 700 episodes? Case closed, maybe.
Yeah, Case Closed / Detective Conan is definitely one that would be that high. Let's see. Did Naruto? I think Naruto did it. It did well. I guess it depends. Let me see how many episodes did Shippuden have? I don't know if we can count Shippuden separately or not. I think it would be fair to just list them all together, so to count them. So
yeah.
Let me see how many episodes were in Shippuden. Shippuden had 500 exactly, and the original Naruto had 220. So yeah, Naruto all hits 700 a little also. Yeah, screw it. Let's look it up. What is like the anime with the most episodes? Let's see what comes up here. Oh wow, Wikipedia has an article. List of anime series by episode count. So let's see how many are above 700. There's 21. I'll be honest, a lot of these I've never heard of.
Wow.
Yeah, a bunch of these are things like this. Oh, this series has called, the one with the most episodes is something called Sazae-san, that's been airing since 1969. So that's pretty long. After let me see how. Let's see. Okay, I'll just list them quick in case anyone's curious. So number 1 is Sazae-san. Number 2 is Nintama Rantaro. 3 is Ojarumaru. Number 4 is Oyaku Club. Number 5, the first one with a name I recognize, is Doraemon. Which is actually, this is Doraemon 1979. I think there's more there's more. Yeah, there's different Doraemon series also, so it would get even higher if you lump them all together. Then, I'm not gonna go. Oh yeah. So in 5th place is Doraemon's 1979 version with 1,787. In 12th place is Doraemon's 2005 version, which has 1,407.
Mm.
Then we've got, Crayon Shin-chan 14. And there we go. Case closed at 15 and One Piece at 16.
Mm.
So, yeah, I don't, Oh, Naruto's not listed here, but that's because they're not combining Naruto Shippuden. Naruto Shippuden, they're separate. Naruto Shippuden clocks in at 26. Anyway, I won't go through all of this. If you really want to look it up, just go to Wikipedia, search for list of anime series by episode count. By the time you look at it, the numbers will be more up to date than what you're hearing here anyway. Yeah, case closed more than One Piece. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see which one of those ends up having more. Because One Piece, remember, actually, are these episodes counting the sort of redoing? Because they're not making new episodes. Like, it went on a kind of hiatus, so they're just, like, re-showing stuff. But I think they might have done something to them. Not sure. No, it looks like they're just old episodes, I think they're showing, so... Yeah, so case closed has it on One Piece, and unless it ends before One Piece does, it'll stay there. Okay. Right, so back to One Piece.
Yep.
699, and yeah. So basically, Doflamingo and Luffy are still fighting. We have some other stuff with all the other characters. There's I guess like the guy who was previously king, all the citizenry are like, yeah, I guess we're okay with you now. Sorry that we kind of believed all that false stuff about you. So we get that and everything's all good there, I guess. And let's see. Right, we also get some stuff about Doflamingo's backstory. We only get some flashes of it, but I think we'll probably get it all in way more detail later on. So, yeah, that's all the stuff. I guess there's also, like some stuff with like Sabo and the other people. But, yeah, that's kind of all the random things that happened in this episode.
Yep. Very disjointed episode.
Mm-hmm.
Very bizarre episode, and we even got some padding too. Mm-hmm. So in fact, you said you were like, it looks like we're not having that much padding this week, and like right as you said that, then we saw like 6 reactions.
Yeah. Yeah. There was also some stuff because I decided I was going to pull up the manga chapter and look at it, and then I realized, oh, this a bunch of the stuff at the start where like the characters were being attacked by the pirates, but then the pirates all get defeated, and then we have the thing where everyone's like, yeah, we're okay with you now, former king, because like the former king I think helped fight the pirates or something. That wasn't there. They just like the pirate attack wasn't there. It was just like they all go, yeah, well, we're okay with you. And so that at least, like, if you're going to put in padding, at least stuff like that is better because it isn't as obvious that it's padding.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't have known that was padding without looking it up. So if you're going to do something like that, that's better than, having 6 reaction shots.
Yeah.
I really do have to. I just constantly wonder what are like the meanings like in the writing and the animating, all that stuff of One Piece. Do they like put in stuff and then someone comes in and says, okay, this isn't enough, we need to find some way to pad it out, or
Mm-hmm.
like how do these meetings go exactly?
Mm-hmm.
All right, anything else or shall we move on?
I guess we can move on.
All right, well, that is our Toonami series. That's all we've got because they're still showing reruns of Invincible Fight Girl. I don't know how long they'll be doing. They'll probably do the whole first season again, so it'll probably be like 2 months before they replace it with anything.
Mm-hmm. That's a clog up a half hour.
Maybe we'll get Dr. Stone again because
I hope so.
it just started airing the new season, and so the dub's going to be a bit behind, and then maybe. But you wait that many weeks, maybe there would be available by then. So we'll see.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. So when we're done with that, we've got Yu Yu Hakusho episode 36. So Yusuke decides, well, I don't want to do it, but I guess I'm going to have to kill these guys even though they're being mind controlled. But then the masked fighter stops him and says, don't worry, I'll do something. And then basically does something that makes it looks like they die, but we find out later they're just fine, which brings up the question of, wait, masked fighter, why didn't you just do this to begin with? But in the meantime, we have the Dr. Ichigaki guy decides, I'm going to turn myself into a monster, but then he gets beaten. And then everything's great. Our heroes have won. Kuwabara's hurt, but so kind of out of commission. And then the tournament committee says, yeah, we're just going to have the next round after right away because, we don't like you and maybe it would get better ratings. And yep, that's it. So we're no downtime. We're going straight into the next round.
Yeah. Yeah. I thought that was kind of amusing how they decided that they're going to go straight to the next round. I'm like, come on, I mean, this is not making itself out to be a very, fair tournament. It seems like all it is basically an excuse to have battle after battle after battle with no end to them. And can't say I find them interesting. What I hated the most of this episode, though, was how they cried and cried and cried all over those two guys who got forced to do bad things. It was like, we don't really care about these people. We just met them. Why should we feel so bad because they got forced to do things they weren't supposed to? Who cares, So, I didn't like this episode all that much.
Well, I think the sad part was supposed to be that they kind of got had to kill them, which is what it looked like. But once again, I'm not sure why, but the masked fighter never bothered to just say, yeah, they're not, don't worry, they're not dead, they're just knocked out. Like, why not just say, because I was thinking originally the explanation was just going to be, okay, I'm not telling them because I want to make sure Yusuke's angry at the Ichigaki guy to make sure he can easily win, and because each Yusuke's power gets stronger with his emotions. I was just assuming it was something like that, but we never get that explanation. So it is a question of, okay, why not just tell them right away, don't worry, they're just knocked out, they'll be getting up again in a few minutes.
Mm-hmm.
And also the question of, well, why didn't you just beat them that way to begin with? I guess the explanation was supposed to be, it's kind of exhausting to do all of that, and I was waiting on it, but still seemed a little weird. But, yeah, so we finished that. Moving on. I think I kind of would have preferred a little more downtime between rounds, but we're going into it.
Yeah.
All right. So then we move on. Shangri-La Frontier episodes 30 and 31. So episode 30 is Sunraku fights a golden scorpion and beats it. That's basically the whole episode.
Yeah.
The next episode, Sunraku is all excited because he's gotten the stuff he needs. Belock, I think that's her name, became a master craftsman. So now he's got the stuff that he can use to make use of all that super cool looking armor stuff, and then remembers that because he's got Lycagon's curse on him, he can't actually wear any armor. So he gets depressed and asks his sister for advice, who gives him one of those things where well tech where he just kind of gets something out of it and then just decides, I'm going to go and play another game then. So he goes to play this game. I can't remember the name of it. It's some like robot fighting game thing he hadn't played for a few months. He gets challenged by a guy who calls himself Super Ball Man. And I don't know if that sounded like, I'm sure I'm sure that probably was supposed to sound goofy in Japanese also. But he manages to win it, the match, and then someone else shows up. I think the super great player of that game that he mentioned previously he got a draw against. And yeah, that's our episodes.
Yeah, that Scorpion Battle episode was boring as heck.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I was really bored by that. I'm like, okay, all you're doing is showing us a boss battle from a video game, and that's it. That's all there is to it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, I'd rather go online and watch people fight Meowser from Super Mario 3D World than I do of watching this match. It's just felt like a waste of an episode, because I was thinking, okay, at some point one of the other characters is going to show up, and I'm like, this can't possibly be the whole episode. Nope, that was it. And yeah, it's just not anything really to talk about. The second episode was a little better, at least, but we still really didn't get the main characters that I like. So yeah, I have to say that these were disappointing episodes, and unfortunately, I was hoping that if we had 2 episodes, that would at least help in case there was one bad one, but it didn't help that much. So this week takes a step back from the last 2 weeks.
I like the second episode a bit more. Senraku, I don't know if it did to you, but Senraku's like interactions with his sister just kind of reminded me of some of the interactions that main character Hachiman, was his name of Snafu, had with his sister. So I was like, oh yeah, that's kind of fun. Those interactions were one of the things I liked the most about that show. So like, okay, that was pretty funny when we had that stuff. But yeah, the first episode, the problem isn't just doing a boss battle. It's a boss battle you can't even play. So because you can't think, oh, that's really cool, I want to see if I can do that, or or it being a hard version of a game you can play or whatever. And none of the other characters are involved around either to like play off of Sunraku. Not even Emil or any of the other rabbits are there. So it felt really weird to spend so much time on that. It was like treating it like it was a Weathermon fight, which I liked, but that was because there was some good build up to it, and it involved other characters. This one, I mean, you put it that way, it's watching someone do a boss battle, but it's once again, it's just watching someone do a boss battle of a game you can't actually play.
You're right, yeah.
Okay. Yep. Yeah, I honestly, the stuff I liked the most was when the stuff we saw in real life. That was I kind of would like to actually see a little more of real life stuff in this series. So that was kind of fun. But yeah, then we just jump into another game, which I mean, it still mostly involves characters we don't know, but at least it's better. It was more interesting. Maybe that was the thing. Okay, look, maybe you're just a little disappointed that we're suddenly introducing some new characters in this different game, but hey, it's more interesting than when we had the previous episode, right?
Yeah.
All right. So we move on then. We've got Blue Lock episode 27. All right, so they keep going through the game. D.I.C.E is trying, he wants to find the way to help them win and also to show himself off. He manages to do the whole, the thing he keeps doing where he just kind of maps everyone onto, where we always have the jigsaw puzzle pieces where he managed to figure out the optimal strategy. And he fails, and it doesn't really work out that well for him the first time because he doesn't hit the ball in time despite figuring it all out. But then the next time he's able to pull it off, and they get the goal and win, and everything's all great for them. And so that's it. I'm not sure what we'll be doing next. Maybe we'll be focusing on some of the other characters and how they're doing their game. So, but that was our episode.
Yeah, we had to find out if there would be a chemical reaction again. And some of this stuff, I know they had it in ICO 21, but it's kind of weird the way they talk about things. But I do think I like the interaction between them. I'm also interested to see if Rayo is going to if he's going to be able to play with Nagi. That sounds pretty interesting. So at least I'm interested in that much. So again, it wasn't a great episode, but I think it was good enough.
Yeah, I think we'll probably see. I do wonder what we're doing because there are other characters. How many of them are we going to go through? This indicated we'll probably see Nagi and Rayo, but maybe it'll just go past that and we'll just get told what happened and then move on to something else. So,
yeah, that's possible.
Yeah, I'm curious when we'll get to the game that this is all in preparation for, because that was what they named the season, wasn't it? Blue Lock versus U20 Japan. That was the name of the season or something. So yeah. I'm suddenly very curious about what will happen there. Okay. Yeah, one thing I wanted to mention, this bit was funny. It's the part where I think this was in the additional time post-credits joke thing where this one person says, "Is it true you're a descendant of a ninja?" And he says, "Yep, believe it."
Yeah, him pretending to be Naruto. That was pretty funny.
Yeah, I checked, and that was actually something they added in the dub. In the original, he just says "nin," which instead of there, what I think is just supposed to be some sort of ninja, random ninja phrase or something. Because I know when Naruto says "believe it" in the English, the original Japanese is something like "data bio" or something like that. So that, I was listening to see if he said that, but he didn't. So that was a joke they just added into English, and I thought that was pretty funny. Okay. Yep. So that was kind of fun. All right. Well, that's our series then. So I guess we'll just do what was the best Toonami show and what was the best non-Toonami show this week.
Okay, you going first or me?
Do you want me to go first?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Well, darn it, I was hoping you would say it and help me out. But yeah, I think I know what I'm going to do. I think I will indeed. For the Toonami one, it's a bit of a tricky thing for me between Mashle and Blue Exorcist. I guess I'll have to give Blue Exorcist its due when it's a kind of less interesting episode of Mashle. So sure, let's go Blue Exorcist. And for the non-Toonami series, it would be... Well, this is a tricky one, because for Shangri-La Frontier, the first episode was worse than Blue Lock, but I liked the second episode more. So if I just want to average them out, I guess I'll I guess I'll just pick Blue Lock because it did better with one episode than Shangri-La did with two.
Okay. Yeah, so my picks: Toonami, Mashle, non-Toonami, Blue Lock, and I am adding in a new category here: Best Girl of the Week. So I just picked the best girl of any of the shows who appeared this week, and I'm picking Tamaki from Blue Exorcist. Um, Blue Exorcist will be eligible for the Best Girl award. Um, Last week, I'm going with Pencilgon, and 2 weeks ago, I'm going with Botan. So I have Best Girls now for all 3 episodes we've done this year. So yeah, that's going to be my new thing. Then we find out who's going to be Best Girl at the end of the year. So that should be exciting. And yeah, I do that on my Bleach reviews. I always put out my best girl of Bleach. So far, Rukia is still ahead, but Tatsuki and Orihime are closing in on her. So we'll see how that goes. I have successfully made it half the way through January without missing a single day. So I'm pretty proud of myself, and we'll see if I'm able to finish the job.
Okay. So are you, so you're, and where can someone read these reviews of yours?
Uh, TommyAPhillips.com. Um, Click on the Anime Bowl 2 tab, and my stuff's there. Unfortunately, I haven't had the money to come up with my own new domain name, but that's where it is. So
Okay. Yeah. So we got that. I was just going to say in just regular anime news. Let me just pull this up. Well, so the new season of anime started, and I just need to say this has this season legitimately set some kind of new record for number of isekai, because it's completely insane how much there is. There's like, I think, 10 isekai series this season. And I think we go up to 11 if you count a reverse isekai series. So yeah, very very high, and of course, as you might expect, most of them are not very good. But I will say one thing. One series did there's one series, one of the new ones called what was it called? From, I want to make sure I get the title just right. Yeah, From Bureaucrat to Villainess, Dad's Been Reincarnated. Yeah, it's yet another villainess anime, but except the joke here is that it's actually an older guy who gets reincarnated into the villainess of the Otome game. But I just meant it's actually probably one of the better of all the deluge of isekai series, this one, at least so far. But I just wanted to mention, there's this bit where it's talking about how he has trouble remembering names, and you see all these names of people kind of going in the background. Now, they're all in Japanese, but, you know, the subtitles tell you what they are. And actually the weird thing is that they're all partially censored, so they kept that up in the English one also. So, you know, it'll like, one will be Chuck Norris, except, you know, like the U and the R will just be randomly censored. So there's like a bunch of names there, some actual people, some fictional characters. I mention all this because if you look, you can see one of them is Jean-Luc Picard. There's also Benjamin Sisko and Miles O'Brien. And I'm just thinking, okay, you have my attention for that. They didn't even just go only for like the well-known one like Picard. They went for Sisko and O'Brien. So I'm like, you know, you have my attention now. Okay. It didn't like say anything about them. It was just a background thing. And I'm like, yeah, okay, that's fun. That's funny. Okay. Anyway, So I guess that's all I have to say about the anime stuff, and that makes a great segue. Well, we actually can't segue yet, because for anyone who doesn't want to hear us talk about Star Trek, well, sorry, too late. But we're just going to say for next week, our current plan is we will be watching off Toonami 2 episodes of Yu Yu Hakusho, 1 episode of Shangri-La Frontier, and 1 episode of Blue Lock. And with that, we're done with the anime stuff. We'll be moving on to the Star Trek episode we watched for this week, which is, and now we're segueing into it, episode 12 of The Next Generation, The Big Goodbye.
Yeah, so we get our first holodeck malfunction episode, as well as our first Wesley Crusher, Mary Sue episode. And so basically Picard wants to go and but he's got to memorize this very specific greeting that he has to say perfectly for this one species that they've come up on. He's frustrated, so he's like, I'm going to take some time off and go in the holodeck. So he comes up with like an old detective thing from the 1940s, and he brings along Crusher and Data with him, and Data memorizes all the things of the time. And so they're going along, they're having fun, and then all of a sudden they brought this one guy around. It's like, okay, why did they bring this other guy around? They brought him around just so he could get shot, and they shoot him. The holodeck people shoot him, and they're freaking out over it because they're not supposed to be real, and then we get a really stupid ending, because what seemed like a very good setup for an exciting ending ends up ending with just Wesley Crusher just goes and magically fixes everything, and there's no real suspense to it at all. Picard at least is able to say the greeting correctly, and they get through that. But I thought there was a lot of potential for this episode, and it either ran out of time or it just ran into a bad ending. So, yeah, I wanted to like this one more than I did, but sadly it came up short.
Yeah. One thing that was really weird was when Wesley is like trying to fix it, and he says, "Well, if I'm going, well, there's a chance that if something goes wrong, they'll all be erased." And I'm like, how did that happen? Like the holodeck malfunction like removes the security thing, like the safety stuff, and can make you hurt. I can get that. How in the world can this possibly like erase the regular people inside of it? And I don't even know why that line was there, because they just do it he just makes it clear that they're just going to have to do it one way or the other. So they might as well have just skipped that out and made things, and had things make more sense. Maybe you can just say it was wrong or something, but that was kind of weird. But here's basically what I think was the core issue with this episode. So this is the first, as they say, of the holodeck malfunction episode. Something that has happened throughout the series, multiple series. In fact, I know DS9 one had an episode kind of like, well, the one, what was it called, Bada Bing, Bada Bing, but that wasn't exactly a malfunction. It was more like it was supposed to go this way, but then they didn't want it to, and I won't get into it. It's complicated, but so when this first aired, this might have been something kind of like novel and interesting. Like, oh wow, the holodeck, it gets all weird and stuff, and now they have to deal with these things. That's an interesting idea, but the problem is, after seeing more episodes of this, we've seen this done multiple times and done better. because this doesn't, outside of the novelty of being a holodeck malfunction story, it doesn't really have anything going for it.
Mhm.
There's actually a really good analogy to this in anime. So it's kind of the feeling of, if someone came up and said, "Oh man, you gotta check out this anime. See, there's this person," and they get brought to this fantasy world, and it's a fantasy. They're from Earth, and they get brought to this fantasy world where everything is just like RPG mechanics with levels and stats and abilities and all that kind of stuff. And if someone had said that to me 10 years ago, I would have been, "Oh, that sounds like an interesting idea and kind of cool. I think I'll check it out." And nowadays, I'm just like, okay, well, what else? You just described like 20 different series. And that's like the problem with it ultimately. It probably was more interesting back then, but now it's lacking that. There's a few things I can say. They did go all out in making like the sets that they looked very good in the holodeck. Whoever the guy who played the sort of gangster guy, he was pretty good in the role. And but yeah, not too much else to say about it. Like I said, it's just like what I said before. It's like it when this aired, it might have been like you know, the whole hey RPG world alternate fantasy thing, which could have been interesting 10 years ago. But nowadays, I just compare this with other series episodes that did the same thing and did it better. And all this has going for it is a novelty, because it doesn't do anything interesting with it beyond that.
Yeah, if we had seen it back when it aired, we might have thought it was I still think, though, they resolved it too easily. I was hoping for some, like, you know, Patrick Stewart speech or something that would fix everything. And it got resolved too easily.
Yeah, the one final comment. I just kept thinking, okay, so look, they're dealing with the holograms and they've got the stuff. Here's the thing. We know Data is like really strong and really fast and he's like bulletproof. Why can't he just quickly beat all of them and save everyone? And which is what he does later on anyway. So why didn't he do that to begin with? So yeah. So that's our. So that's. Also, I am kind of curious. They all got interrupted with all this stuff, and I was thinking, you know, I'm kind of curious. How was this story actually supposed to originally go in the holodeck?
Yeah, that would have been interesting.
Yeah.
Picard got accused of the crime, and
all right. Yep, I've got.
nothing. We have to rank it.
Okay. For me,
yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say, like I said, I feel this just really has major problems. If this had been like, or if I had been watching the series from the start, hadn't seen any other episodes, and I got to this episode, well, first I'd be shocked at myself for sticking around this long, but I would have ranked it probably one or two like points higher. But as is, I think I'll ultimately just give it a 5 out of 10.
Yeah, I gave it a 5 as well. I thought it had some potential, but it never came through on that promise. So, yeah, 5.
Yeah, and I think, actually, I feel like when I did originally watch this, because I actually did watch a bunch of, after I watched the original series, and I was much younger at this point. I can't remember how old I was. I'm pretty sure I was like, man, I can't remember exactly. But I do feel like I liked this episode more the first time I saw it way back when. But that, of course, was, ironically, the first holodeck malfunction episode I ever saw. So I probably was actually back then thinking, hey, this was kind of cool. And then that wasn't. But now, well, like I said, it's I already said it all. So yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so don't have anything else to say about this episode, I think, but next week we'll have episode 13, Data Lore, and yep, nothing else. So
I got something to add.
okay.
So, you know how we reviewed Birdie Wing a couple years ago, and the best part about the show was having all these underground golf courses that could just be created out of machines and stuff, and they'd use them to go and play matches on, to bet on and by the mafia. Well, now there's life imitates art, because now we've got something similar going on, which has been started airing on ESPN, and it's called TGL, and basically golfers hit balls into a screen, and then once they get onto the simulated green, they actually go to the screen that can like change shapes and change slopes and move all kinds of things around, move bunkers around and stuff, and change the way it's all the way it like tilted, and they have to play on that. And I thought it was a little bit like the underground transforming golf courses of Birdie Wing, and I thought that was pretty interesting. Now, it's not the whole course, though. It's not like entire holes. It's just like the green and the bunkers around the green, but I still think it's pretty interesting.
Okay, yeah. When you think about it, especially with Birdie Wing, it's just a matter of, so they have this thing that must cost so much money to make and maintain, and apparently all they use it for is like single single hole, like where you go against someone and you normally only do one hole. Well, you keep going until someone, gets a better score and stuff. And I'm thinking, I'm pretty sure if this sort of thing, you can make a whole lot of money just having people pay to use it instead of just using it to settle mafia disputes. All right. Well, I don't have anything else to add. So I guess that's it, and we'll see you next week.
Bye.
The Sarvillian galaxy is full of danger.
Oh no, we've got trouble!
Fortunately, the D.I.C.E team and their Dino Breakers are ready to rumble. Not bad for a bunch of kids. D.I.C.E, premiering Saturday, January 22nd at 7:30.
Wow, what a plan!
Incredible! The squad's rolling deep. Only Toonami.